Professor Quilkson had taught mathematics across 17 civilized systems for 3 centuries. Her teaching methods were renowned for their clarity, her patience legendary among the Galactic Educational Consortium. She had instructed the mathematical prodigies of the Zenthari hive mind, guided the crystalline calculators of Sigma, 6, and even managed to teach basic algebra to the notoriously stubborn Krellian nobility. But nothing had prepared her for teaching humans. The incident occurred during what should have been a routine lesson on probability theory at the newly established Terran Integration Academy. Quilkson had written a simple word problem on the holographic display, translated carefully into Terran Standard English. A supply convoy must travel through contested territory, she read aloud, her translator converting her melodic clicks into human speech. The route passes through 3 possible checkpoints. Enemy forces have a 30% chance of occupying any single checkpoint. Calculate the probability that the convoy encounters hostile forces at least once. Simple mathematics. Basic probability. She'd used variations of this problem for decades. The human students, 20 young cadets from Earth's various military academies, didn't reach for their data tablets. Instead, they began talking. Rapidly. Intensely. 3 checkpoints means multiple engagement scenarios, said Cadet Rodriguez, leaning forward. If we assume standard patrol patterns. Wait, what's the terrain? Interrupted Cadet Okonkwo. Probability changes if there's aerial surveillance capability. The problem doesn't specify, Quilkson interjected, her head tendrils quivering with confusion. You simply need to calculate. Ma'am, with respect, insufficient data, said Cadet Park. She was already sketching tactical diagrams on her tablet. Are we talking urban, desert, or forest? What's the enemy force composition? Squad level or platoon? Quilkson's secondary brain struggled to process the divergence. This is a mathematics problem, not a. Assuming standard doctrine, Rodriguez continued, ignoring the interruption, 30% occupation suggests limited enemy resources. They're spreading thin. Smart convoy would send advance scouts, split into 2 vehicles minimum for redundancy. Decoy strategy, Okonkwo nodded enthusiastically. Send a light vehicle through checkpoint 1, draws contact if present. Main convoy diverts to alternate route. That drops your encounter probability significantly. The other human students were nodding, adding their own tactical considerations. The classroom had transformed into something resembling a military planning session. Professor Quilkson looked desperately at her assistant, a gentle pavilion who specialized in xenopsychology. Is this normal for Deathworlders? The pavilion's chromatophores flickered with nervous yellow. I believe so, Professor. Humans apparently evolved in an environment where every mathematical problem had immediate survival implications. But it's just numbers, Quilkson protested weakly. Cadet Chen, who had been quietly working on his tablet, suddenly spoke up. Professor, if we're allowed to modify operational parameters, I can get the encounter probability down to 8% with minimal resource expenditure. How? Quilkson asked, despite herself. Bribe the enemy forces, Chen said matter-of-factly. If 30% occupation indicates resource scarcity, and assuming the convoy carries valuable supplies, basic game theory suggests negotiation is more cost-effective than engagement. Changes the whole probability matrix. The classroom erupted in debate. Half the students argued for Chen's diplomatic approach, others insisted on electronic warfare solutions, a few advocated for aggressive reconnaissance, which Quilkson's translator struggled to distinguish from preemptive strike. Enough. Quilkson's voice amplified through the room speakers. The humans fell silent, looking at her with expressions of polite confusion. The answer, she said, her voice strained, is 0.657, or 65.7%. That is the mathematical solution. You were supposed to use the complement rule for probability. Cadet Rodriguez raised his hand. But ma'am, That's only if you accept the scenario parameters as fixed constraints. In actual combat. This is not combat. Quilkson's head tendrils stood completely erect. This is mathematics. The humans exchanged glances. Finally, Cadet Park spoke, her tone genuinely puzzled. Professor, respectfully, what's the difference? That evening, in the faculty lounge, Quilkson sat with her colleagues, her usual composure shattered. They can't see a number without calculating how to weaponize it, she whispered. Every equation is a battle plan. Every variable is a potential threat or asset. The pavilion assistant brought her a calming beverage. Perhaps that's why they survived their death world, Professor. And perhaps that's why the consortium needs them. Quilkson stared into her drink. Tomorrow's lesson was on logistics and resource distribution. She had a terrible suspicion the humans would turn it into an invasion plan. She wasn't wrong.